This is my Kaypro II. It was made in 1982. This was the first model Kaypro introduced. The number 2 comes from the number of disk drives it was equipped with. In the early 80s, the floppy drive was still a big deal, and the Kaypro came with 2 drives standard. At the time, most computers still came with a tape drive standard, and you'd have to order disk drives as an option. The Apple II, the IBM PC, Commodore, they all used a tape drive, not the disk drives. It's an 8-bit machine. It has 2 ports on the back. There's a serial port for a modem and the Centronics parallel port for a printer. Okay, so let's boot it up. The power switch is on the back. Just typical back then, you didn't want to accidentally turn the computer off and lose your data. Let's see, there we go. We already have our boot disk in drive A. We'll close the latch. CP/M is booted up. Let's get the directory up here. Here's a directory. We've got all of our utilities on here for CP/M. One of the odd things about the early Kaypro II is that the drive light does not switch off when the drive does. It stays on all the time. According to the manual, this is so you know which drive was the last you selected. Alright, so let's put some games in here. I need to put that in caps. All right. This is listing all the instructions in BASIC that make up this game. Okay. Here's instructions on how to play. I'm not actually going to play this game because it takes too much time and I don't really feel like playing it. Just wanted to show you how this works. Let's do a one-player game. An interesting thing about the first Kaypro II is that it has no graphics capability, so everything is represented by text. As you can see, our Pac-Man guy here is actually just a lowercase and uppercase letter C, and the ghosts are letter A. I'm going to come over here and get this power pill. Show you. Right, and they turn into the letter M. Pretty creative programming going on here. So that's Ketchum. Let's take a look at the other games. This is Aliens, which is like Space Invaders. You can see all the aliens are made out of letters and symbols. Here's our base down here. You can see there's some flickering here going on of the underscore, which is also the cursor. You lose points for missing. I don't know if that's all that important. Anyway, let's take a look at the last game here. This is like Ladder. It's like a Donkey Kong clone. You have this letter P here running through this maze, and those letter O's are apparently the barrels that you need to avoid. Whoops. So I've had enough of this already. Those are the games that came with the system. Sometimes people ask me what this computer is worth. It's not actually worth very much. I paid $25 for it about 5 years ago, and they're not really worth that much more now. Maybe $40 or $50 in good condition. They made 40,000 of these in the first year, so they're not very rare. They weren't very expensive to begin with, relatively speaking, so there's a bunch of them still out there. They're built very solidly, so a lot of them still work. So there's not a whole lot of collector value, but it is a very fun machine to play with, so if you see one, grab it. You don't have anything to lose.